What's up, you guys? Just here in the kitchen, got an array of tools out here, and I just wanted to show you kind of what I use in things that I do either after workouts or maybe in between training days, things that you can do too. Just kind of keep yourself healthy, keep yourself injury free, really focus on making sure that you can move properly, because at the end of the day, when it comes to training, when it comes to performance, it is about improving and getting better. And if we're constantly beating up our bodies in the gym, we're outside running, we're doing something of that nature, we're just breaking down our body, we're tearing muscle fibers down. So we need to either get in the kitchen and refuel ourselves in the fridge, or we also need to take care of ourselves as well. And there's a lot of things and tools that you can either purchase and do to kind of help you with that. And so try to keep this as simple in layman's terms as possible for you guys, because I'm not sure the science is really going to matter too much. More so just like, how do you use things, what do you use, and different stuff. So I did a video a while back of kind of some of the tools that I have, and as you can see, I've got a big collection. I'm a licensed massage therapist, personal trainer, and so I've been collecting things for a while. I've got tons of stuff as far as gifts and stuff, and so I've got some really cool things that we can use. And so, but let's just talk the purpose of doing this. So, like I was saying, when we're training and we're beating up our bodies, what we're doing is we're shortening tissue. That ultimately is what's happening, right? We're tearing down the muscle fibers and we're shortening tissue. When I'm contracting a muscle, I'm shortening that muscle to try to make it grow. I'm trying to put blood into that tissue so that it can get growth within that tissue as well. But that's what we do, is we shorten tissue. Another thing that we do is we have what I would say chronic holding patterns throughout the day. So if you work at a desk and you're sitting for a long period of time, maybe you're sitting on your couch, maybe, I'm not sure, whatever it is that you're doing throughout your day, whatever body position you're in, that's what I consider a chronic holding pattern. And with chronic holding patterns is we create tightness within our tissue and our joints and our body frame and our structure, and so we tend to lock up, not have a lot of mobility, and so there's a lot of things that we can do to improve that. So the main thing with all of these tools is to do one thing for you, and that is to improve circulation. If we can improve circulation, we can feed the nutrients from our bloodstream into those joints, those ligaments, those tendons, those muscles, and then we can fuel it, because your proteins and all the supplementation and the micronutrients, all that's flowing throughout your bloodstream, and we want to put that back into the tissue so that we can repair, we can heal, and we can improve with that. So let's just go over a few of these real quick and tell you why I do some of these things. But this is a smash session right here, right? We're trying to smash tissue, we're trying to break up fascia, we're trying to, any type of chronic holding patterns or knots and stuff, that would be the purpose of that. So basic tool, right? So basic tool would be a foam roller here. Now this little simple tool can do a lot of fixing on your body. It can do a lot of fixing from your lat muscles here. It can do a lot of fixing on your back, on your thighs, on your calf muscles, on your glutes, big butt cheeks. And so just the simple tool of a foam roller, what they would call self-myofascial release, this bad boy is going to take care of a lot of those problems itself. Now, there's a lot of videos. I'm not showing you tonight exactly how to do things. I'll tell you what to do, but I'm not going to show you exactly how to do it, because I'm in my kitchen and I really don't have the space to do that. Maybe I'll have to do another video in a different room where I can get down on the ground and show you some. But you can go to YouTube and you can find tons of videos on how to foam roll. But this device here, from if you have tight hips, your calves are tight, under your arm is tight because you've been sleeping with your arms stretched out, you've been in some weird awkward position at your desk, sitting at a chair, with your hands up high, perched in a position on a keyboard, all of that, right? The foam roller, just simple basic hard foam roller, can fix a lot of those issues. Okay, so if you don't own one, go to your local sports store, purchase a foam roller. Okay, another one we got here is just a stick. So if you see this, just got a nice little stick. It's called the it's called the stick. But this little tool here, so you can get down on your quads here, you can run this bad boy up and down your leg, but a real simple tool to kind of break up things. Now what I would suggest, no matter what tools you're doing, is the slower that you go, slow, deep pressure, or whatever pressure is comfortable for you, I guess, that would be my best advice to give you. the more quicker that you're rolling over, the faster that you're doing these, you're not really helping yourself, right? So around our muscles is we have this tissue called fascia. And fascia is like a silk lining, right? So if you took a silk blanket and wrapped it around you, that's our muscle is surrounded by that. All of our organs, everywhere in our body is surrounded by fascia. Now, fascia is like, I would consider it like coconut oil, right? When it gets cold, it solidifies and it hardens up. But as we start to move throughout our day, it starts to liquefy and it starts to get like a gel-like substance. And so when you wake up in the morning and you feel stiff, it's because you've been in a position and your fascia has kind of locked up and positioned itself. That's why we go into a natural stretch, is because we want to lengthen things back out. So your body's smart and it's already trying to teach you and tell you what it needs. And so being aware of your body, how you feel, that's how we're going to take advantage of all these tools. But a stick is a great tool. You can have this in the car, you can have this next to the couch or somewhere, but rolling out your quads here, get it on the back of your legs, rolling out your calves. This is a really neat tool that you can use. I'm not sure how much these cost. They range from probably like 25 to $40 depending on what size you have, but this is a cool little simple tool. Then I've got some of these lacrosse balls. Now these are doubled up here, as you can see. So I use these for a couple different styles. So I mean, I kind of get creative how to use these in different ways, different positions, because I may want to hit something that's a little bit more targeted versus something a little bit more larger, like a softball itself. But this doubled up one here, as you can see, this is a really good one to use on your spine. So starting right below your cervical spine here, just right above your shoulder blades, and you can lie down on the ground with your arms crossed, and you can slowly start to crawl yourself back. So if you're laying on the ground, this is a phenomenal tool to have, just to kind of break up those big, thick back straps that are right on the side of your spine. Now again, I say do things with caution. If you need to watch a video, I'll try to put some videos together. I just need to find a really good space to do that. But do things with caution so you don't hurt yourself. If something hurts or the pressure is too strong, definitely I advise to get off or lay off of that area if it's super tender, and maybe work your way into that position, just because you don't want to be in a very painful position. If you have a high pain tolerance, don't just try to take it just because you have a high pain tolerance, because you could get bruised up, you could hurt yourself in some way. But this is a really neat tool to use. It feels incredibly good, just rolling down your spine. So again, you would be lying on the ground with your arms crossed, so you're exposing those big, thick back straps, and then you would just slowly crawl yourself back on the floor with your legs until you got down to your lower back. And again, like I said, if you feel a lot of pressure, a lot of pain, something feels uncomfortable, get out of that position, maybe start over, or just kind of take a break from that, and maybe get on something that's a little bit more broad like the foam roller here. Another way that I use this is I would put this in a doorway, or I would put this on like a squat rack of some sort, and I would pin it right here where my pec minor is, like a big pec major as well, right? So I got these big sexy pec muscles here. What I'd do is I'd get there, I'd pin it up against the post of the squat rack here, and then I'd do some arm circles here. So I'm pressing my body into that position, and then I'm extending my arm, I'm putting it in motion, I'm pinning and stretching. So I'm trying to release that chest muscle there. Now again, the reason I say that I focus on my pecs a lot is a lot of people want to do bench press, but also is a lot of people do things throughout the day that are in front of them. If you're on a computer, your arms are in front of you, which means that chest muscle, that tissue is shortened up. If you're driving for a long period of time, that means that your arms are in front of you and your chest muscles are shortened up. Now a lot of us, what we would call these days tech posture, right? Where you have this exaggerated curve in your upper back, your head is forward, and the muscles up front are really short and tight. And so what we want to do is we want to be able to release those and bring our shoulders back into a natural position to where now I'm more comfortable, I'm in an anatomical position, and I'm feeling better. Now, one thing with the chest muscles here is we got our next device. This is called the bow tie. Now, if you don't own the bow tie, it's the Donnie Thompson bow tie by Spud Inc. My man Rob DeBoer knows Spud apparently, so shout out to Spud Inc. This is an amazing device. I would love to have more Spud equipment. I just haven't got it yet. But how the bow tie works and how that plays into the chest here is I'm going to take this bow tie, I'm going to throw it up over my shoulders here, and I am going to loop it up a little bit to where now it's forcing my body and putting my shoulders back in a nice natural position. Now what this is going to do, I'm going to wear this from anywhere from like 20 minutes, I may even wear it up to 45 minutes depending on how I feel. Now what I hear is a lot of people when they first get this, right, they'll be like, my hands are tingling. Well, this strap right here is pressing up against our pec minor. So it's a small little muscle that goes from your shoulder, attaches to your rib cage here, and we have a nerve that travels right through that muscle. And so if that is the case, then you may want to wear this for a shorter period of time, just so that you can work your way into that. But this bow tie here, as you can see, just a figure eight, has my shoulders drawn back, so it's pulling my shoulders back, and it feels great. Like, I can wear this thing for 45 minutes easily and be completely comfortable doing my normal day. Now, when I'm taking this off, what happens if I'm wearing this for a long period of time is my shoulders will drop and relax. And that's good, because we're all so tense. We're also positioned with our hands up at a desk, driving, doing things that are in front of us. We're on our cell phones all day. Like, when we're doing those tasks and we're doing those motions, we're creating a lot of habit, or a lot of tension within our upper extremity, our brachial plexus of our body. And we don't want these elevated shoulders. We want drop, relaxed, natural shoulders. We want everything drawn back. So the Donnie Thompson bow tie, this is a bad A device. I'm telling you, it is worth the investment. I think it's like 40 or 50 bucks, but absolutely worth it. Now what I would do, this has a hook on it. I grab this and all I would do is just pull it up and over. So, sweet tool, great device, absolutely love it. Now since we're on the chest muscle, another tool that I use, so I showed you that we had this double lacrosse ball that can get a little bit more targeted area. We've got the softball that can do the same thing. Now I would do the exact same thing with this, with the softball. I'd put it up against a squat rack post and I'd be in a position where I could circle my arms, I could put it in a different motion, or put it through all ranges of motion, and really get some activation through that chest muscle to kind of release some of that tension that's up front. So softball works great. What I'll do sometimes as well, put my arm behind my back, get up against a wall, and then I would just roll right up against that wall and just strip right across that tissue here. Or I might even lay on the ground on my chest and just let this sink in. So depending on how comfortable you are in what position, you really need to take these tools and find out what works best for you in what position. Because that's what it comes down to. Like, if I try to look at a video of someone doing something, and now this goes across with everything, exercise especially, right? When coming into fitness and doing specific movements, if I try to just like mimic what someone's doing, that's not very good. I need to have body awareness, and I need to be aware of how I feel. Is it hitting the right spot? Is it helping me? You know, like if I'm just like, I don't feel anything, like what's going on? It means that I'm not focused on myself. It means that I'm not aware of how this is actually treating me at that specific moment, any of these tools. So you want to have that body awareness. You want to do things with intention and really hone in on how you feel. Now I have good body awareness. When I'm sitting for a long period of time, I know exactly what hurts on me. And I'm just like, ugh, why did I just do that to myself? That happens every single day. When I go running for a long period of time, I can tell lately that my glutes are a little weak. And so when I've been running, my hips have been getting incredibly tight. Something I need to do is focus on the strength and stability of my glutes so that that doesn't happen. But what I'm getting at is have that body awareness when you're doing any type of mobility work, any type of recovery work, just because you really want to make sure that when you're doing specific movements, it's targeting and it's hitting things right. So lacrosse ball is a good one here. Get on the chest, get on the calves. You can sit on it on your glutes, hit that piriformis muscles, hit some of those outer glute muscles. Incredible, incredible. Then we've got the single lacrosse ball. So single lacrosse ball. Now same thing, if you want to hit a more targeted area, softball is a little bit more broad, lacrosse ball is a lot smaller. Now again, I advise you when you're going to a smaller ball where it's going to be a lot more targeted and it's going to hit it more like a pinpoint. Now again, pain level. Don't just do things, it's like, oh, because it hurts, that means that I'm doing it right. No, not necessarily. And so be cautious and be aware of how you're using these tools. Make sure that when you're using something smaller, that you're treating it well. Now let's get into some voodoo stuff, right? So some things that people love, some things that people would disagree with. I believe that if you've never tried it, personally, for an extended period of time, you can't talk bad about anything, right? So I can't say like, oh, that doesn't work. Well, if I've never tried it, how do I actually know that it doesn't work? But what I got my cupping kit, right? So, cupping kits. This is great. I love this tool. This is super helpful, right? It's got a nice little compression squeeze. I put one of these cups here on the end, and what I can do is I can hit my shoulders. I can have my wife work down my whole entire back. But what this is doing, and what the purpose of this would be, is to pull the skin off of the muscle, right? Get that fascia, try to help get that fascia off of the muscle tissue and improve circulation. So again, with all of these tools, it's about improving circulation, and this is just another one. Maybe you watched the Olympics last year and you saw Michael Phelps with all the circles on his back. Well, that's just because we've got cupping kits. There's old Indian traditional ones where you would use like fire, you would put some heat in there, suck it on somebody's body, and you know, I've seen some ones where they fill up with blood. That to me just doesn't seem legit at all. But I like to get a good suction once in a while, just because it feels good on the back. It feels like I get a good release, and then if I have any issues or tightness, it seems to really relieve that. And so definitely happy with that. But cupping kit, if you want to get a cupping kit for yourself, you can just pick this up on Amazon for like 25 bucks. You don't have to be a master. You don't need certification. So someone tells you that you do. No, you don't. Definitely don't. So just again, another tool to be smart about. But again, improving circulation. We can work this on all sorts of areas of our body. We can hit our quads, our chest, our back, our shoulders, our arms, our brachioradialis here. So a lot of the elbow issues that people have. And there's a lot of things that I use for my elbows. And I'm going to get into that with my kettlebell. I'll show you what I do with my kettlebell and how I release and get some of the good positions on my elbow and make them feel better. So, I've got some of these. Now, we have some other versions of like foam rollers and stuff. Now, I showed you the lacrosse balls, showed you the softballs. Now we've got what's called the Hyper Ice, or the Hyper Ice Sphere. So the Hypersphere. So this is just kind of like a softball here, but it turns on, and this vibrates. So you can see this bad boy. This vibrates. So this thing's really nice. It's a great tool. I like the vibration stimulation. It seems to get the nervous system stimulated. It seems to help improve circulation for me. So I've had great results with my vibration tools as I'm working on my calves, whether it's working on my back, my quads. I love having this tool just because it provides a lot of stimulation to where I'm able to relax and get in that, hit that nervous system in a specific way. And so if you're looking for something with vibration, there's tons of tools out there. They have the new Theraguns and different things, but Hyper Ice makes a really good quality brand as far as these tools go. I've had this for a couple years. Shout out to Dr. Ricardo Lerma for hooking me up as a gift, but this is a really incredible tool. I really love it. It makes sense. It feels good in the areas when I'm working, especially if I have a lot of tightness in an area. Or last month when I was doing my May 100, I had a nagging calf injury, and this bad boy relieved a lot of stress, a lot of pain, and helped lengthen some of that tissue here. And so I like that a lot. Along with vibration tools as well, I showed you the big foam roller. Now this is going to be a smaller foam roller, and this one is called the Hyper Ice. So, same thing, turn it on, got the battery, press the button here, and then we got the vibration. So, really cool tool. Got 3 different settings. But again, the purpose of the foam rollers, the self-myofascial release, is just to break up that fascia, break up those adhesions, and to really relax those muscles down so that we can create some length. Now, muscle fibers itself, like the Z filaments, like the fibers itself, muscle fibers don't get short. Now, I think that's what people get confused about a lot. And maybe there's some debate in the health and fitness industry of like muscle tissue, but like muscles themselves, like the fibers of muscles don't get short. It's the fascia and everything that surrounds it that tightens up and locks it up so it doesn't have that good mobility and that good length. And so that's why we're using all these tools, is so that we can create length in that tissue so that we can have better mobility. because I like to think of it as like we don't want to do a lot of static stretching, like hold and stretch. You know, I know yoga does a lot of that, and there's great benefits of that, but mobility, I feel that is so much more important. So what type of range of motion do you have in your shoulders? What type of range of motion do you have in your elbows, your hips, your ankles, your wrist? A lot of people have wrist problems, and people want to say, oh, I have bad wrists, I'm going to go get surgery done. I advise not. I feel that you should do a lot of other things before you go get surgery on your wrist for your carpal tunnel, right? Think about what's happening up in the shoulder, the elbow, the forearm before you make decisions like that. Because if you're somebody that doesn't move a lot and you don't have great mobility, you have these tight, achy joints for a reason. If you have tight knees and every time you run or you walk upstairs, you have a lot of pains because those quad muscles and that quad tendon is so shortened up and tight that it's pulling so hard on that kneecap because that tendon runs right under that kneecap, and it's just yanking and pulling as you're stretched over the end of that fibula and tibia there. And so you got to think about the longer and healthier our muscles are, the better we're going to feel, the better circulation we can provide to our joints and stuff is going to be key. Now, the next one we got the Leopard Claw. Now this is by Dr. Kelly Starrett with Mobility WOD. The Leopard Claw, I think, is a cool tool. Now the purpose of this, so if you are familiar with like Gua Sha, if you're familiar with I guess any of like the bullhorn scrapings or cupping, or there's hot grips, there's Graston tools as well. But what Dr. Kelly Starrett did is they just created a one simple tool so that they could hit all these areas, right? So we're going to scrape through here. We're going to work through all the areas. We're looking to break up those capillaries that are right there underneath the tissue and any type of adhesions that could come through. So if I'm having elbow and wrist pain, I'm going to work through this brachioradialis here. I'm going to try to relieve some of that. I'm also going to work on my shoulders. The ends here are beveled, and I can hit a little bit more sharper areas. So if I wanted to come through and clean up a specific area, fantastic with this tool. If I wanted to clean up my quads, I could clean up my quads. I could lay down, I could have my wife scrape out my calves for me. Now, a lot of those adhesions and tightness, now that's going to come through just again from our workouts, our training regimens that are just beating our bodies up and keeping everything tight. We don't want everything tight. We want everything to be nice and loose and flexible and mobile so that we can feel good. So when I'm using this, they have a specific formula that they use, but I just use cocoa butter just because it glides along the skin better, and I can break up some of those adhesions, a little bit of that fascia. Now, if you're using any type of tool like this, if you're using cupping kits at all as well, and you see some of that redness come up to the surface of the skin, it's what they would call topeka, right? And so that's just some of the blood that's being, what they consider being trapped inside muscle tissues, and if it's really dark purple, it's probably been there for a while. People say that there could be toxins and other things in there, and so when you're doing any type of massage work, when you're doing any type of therapy work and you've never been worked on ever before, you know, you could have a lot of I guess garbage built up within your system and your tissues that if you feel sick, that would be normal. I guess it's not like it wouldn't be normal to always feel like that, but it wouldn't be unnormal. It wouldn't be like oh, this is making me sick, like this is wrong. But yeah, it could definitely make you sick a little bit depending on how hard you're working through some of these. But yeah, scraping tool is a freaking badass tool, so I love this. Now what I want to talk about is what you can do 10 minutes a day. So here's the thought with that, 10 minutes a day, is I want you to think about what it is you do for work, what body position that your body is in all day long, and then think about what muscles would be short in that body position. So let's think of one here. So let me move this here real quick. So let's get into the most typical one, right? So if I'm sitting here at a desk, right? So my hips are going to be short, which means my hip flexors are short now, right? Then I've got this tech posture, okay? Now my arms are up. My trap muscles are short, okay? My back is going to be achy and sore because now it's overstretched. And then my chest muscles are short. So you got to remember that when you're in a position, right, is if I'm at a desk all day, my chest muscles might be sore. My upper back probably is going to be because those muscles are overstretched and over lengthened. So when people come in, when I do a massage, they'd be like, oh, massage my upper back, it's like, okay, that is a symptom. That is not actually the dysfunction. So let's think about what you do for work, right? So if my hips are up in a seated position for the day, I'm gonna wanna hit my glutes, I'm gonna wanna hit my piriformis, I'm gonna wanna hit my calf muscles, I'm gonna wanna hit my back muscles, and I'm gonna wanna think about the muscles that are short throughout the day. And those are the things, and those are the areas of the body that you could be addressing just so that you're not doing something that's completely unnecessary. And so the foam roller is gonna take care of it. The Hyperice tools are gonna take care of it. The scraping tools are going to take care of it. And so think about this, you know, if you don't own one of these bad boys, the Donnie Thompson bow ties, I highly suggest that you get one. Because this thing, if you work at a desk, if you're doing anything, if you're cutting hair, if you're at a computer, if you're on your cell phone, if you're a driver, if you're in a car, you need to own a Donnie Thompson bow tie because that is going to draw those shoulders back, it's going to put it in position, and you're going to feel a whole heck of a lot better. And so that's what you can do within 10 minutes a day, right? Just address the areas that are necessary. Now here's the more common areas that you may want to address. Your back, your quads, your calf muscles, and then your lats here. So, your lats. So when we're on this and I'm laying down on my side here, and I can roll back and forth on the ground, that lat muscle is going to be another one that's going to be a big one. So your lats, your big back muscles, your quads and your calves. You can address those every day, feel really good. Also get your glutes as well, work the butt cheeks out. And I mean, it's ideal, like it's something that you want to do. You want to keep yourself mobile, you want to keep yourself healthy, and you want to be able to move like a champion. But let me show you. So real quick, let's get into the elbows. So I'm gonna get you guys out of here. I know I've been talking for a while, but my elbows, right? A lot of people have elbow pain all the time, right? It's because your shoulders are in such a bad position. They're rotated forward. You're doing stuff that's up here. Your arms are not supported well through your rotator cuffs. Your arms aren't supported well through your subscapulas. You know, we've got a lot of dysfunction in the shoulder that's happening, which is going to create a lot of symptoms and pain and injuries down here in the forearm. Now, I've had a client that had surgery on his elbow and just kept having issue after issue after issue, and it's because he didn't change what he was doing. He didn't change the lifestyle that he was living, where he was working, how he was working, and he kept doing the same thing, assuming that that elbow pain would go away. But if we don't treat the dysfunction and we keep treating the symptom, then we're going to keep having the same results. Now what I like to do is, this is just a 20-pound kettlebell, and how I use this thing, you can look into like body tempering. So Spud Inc., these guys over here, these big power level lifters, they do a lot of body tempering with these big giant iron steel rods. They'll roll them across your back, roll them on your hamstrings, roll them on your calf muscles, but they're big, they're heavy, there's a lot of compression. Now with compression creates heat, and as I was talking about earlier, is that when our body is covered in fascia, our tissue is surrounded in fascia, right? It's like coconut oil. When it warms up, it liquefies and is able to be more mobile. That's why we can stretch better after a workout, because our bodies are nice and mobile, and they're loose and they're relaxed and they're liquefied. But if we sit in a position for a long time, everything solidifies and gets hard. That's why we can't move very well. But with the elbow here, body tempering, now I'm going to work my forearm here, keep my elbow healthy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this kettlebell here, I'll move to the side, and all I do is I just roll. So normally I'd be on my massage table or somewhere, but I just roll this bad boy up and down, and all I'm doing is just going nice and slow. I'm feeling compression, and I'm just letting it do the job. Sometime if I find an area that's nice and sore, I'll sit, I'll position it more, and I'll maybe put a little bit more pressure into that. And so be aware of the pressure. Pain is not a good thing when you're doing any type of body work, or you're trying to do any personal work here, trying to fix yourself. But I'm just going to work right through that forearm, break up some of that brachial radialis. But another big one here is going to be the bicep here. So I normally do this laying on the ground, but what I do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to plant this right here in my bicep. I'm going to pin it, and then I'm going to stretch my arm out here. Whew. Get a nice good one here. Reposition it. I'm going to reposition it here. Then all I'm going to do is just stretch it out again here. Get a nice good stretch. I'm going to work up, and I'm going to stretch it out again here. Then I'm going to pin this kettlebell down again. I'm going to stretch it out. Now normally I'd be laying in my garage on my mats, I'd be on the carpet on my floor, not on a hard surface like this granite countertop. But I'm gonna wanna do that. I'm gonna wanna pin that muscle down and stretch it out. The reason I talk about that, how great this tool can be, is because biceps get so short, right? Everyone wants to walk around like this, holding a purse, holding their cell phones, at a desk. We have short biceps all the time. When people are working out and they talk about having elbow pain, it's because we got a lot of tension, we got a lot of pressure right here through the elbow. It's because our biceps start to get really short. And so I definitely encourage you to get something heavy here. If you can't afford a massage therapist, and then just pin and stretch. Nice and stretch here. You want to go slow and then just pin and stretch. And just working through that bicep and getting a nice release. Now that's how I keep my elbows healthy. I get on here, I work out my bicep, roll out my forearms, and as well, I'll get on my triceps as well. So those are the three areas and those are the three positions that I'm going to want to work with when I'm cleaning up and fixing my elbows up, because those are the people who are going to have the most problems. And so keeping those elbows healthy. But you guys, I've been talking for a while. We've got a lot of tools. We've got kettlebells, scraping tools, vibration hyper ice tools, the stick, the Donnie Thompson bow tie. We got the double lacrosse ball setups here for your spine. We got the softball here for your chest. We got cupping kits for your back. Got just the regular simple foam roller. If you don't have a lot of money to spend on tools, just go and get yourself a simple foam roller. This little device here can change everything itself. But you guys, that's it for you, man. If you guys have any questions specifically, I know I didn't go over a video positions of like how I actually am doing a lot of this stuff. I need to create that, but I just wanted to go over the basics of the tools, why I use them, where I use them, and it's something that you guys need to be doing for yourself. And so 10 minutes a day, work on those body positionings that are going to be relative to what you do all day. So if you're sitting, you need to be addressing those positions that are short throughout that day, right? So if I'm in a seated position, I'm gonna wanna roll my calves out, gonna wanna roll my back out, my glutes out. If you're standing all day long and you're doing other things, you may wanna work your calves out. And so think about that. 10 minutes a day, get everything rolled out, get everything working. But you guys have a great night, and we'll talk soon. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Peace!